Welcome to the program. I'm Mark Imperial. This segment's being brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals get their books done and published to educate consumers, grow their businesses, and to leave a legacy. I'm doing a series of spotlights on remarkable business intermediaries from across the country, and joining me on this segment is Michael Pfeffer. He's a partner with Edison Business Advisors. Michael, welcome to the program.
Good morning. Glad to be here.
Michael, tell us a little bit about your work and tell us specifically who are the types of folks that you specialize in helping.
Oh boy, we're pretty broad based, and we go anywhere from Main Street mom and pop all the way to the lower middle market, up to about 20 million in revenue. So kind of all over the place. We've been at it for quite a while, 20 years or so. Also, I'm a certified business appraiser, and I value about 500 businesses. So it's we're kind of, like I say, full service all over the place. And we can help just about anybody looking to buy or sell a business.
These businesses that you help, tell us a little bit about them. How experienced are they in selling a business? I imagine they've been working on growth. Do they start with the end in mind? Give us a little snapshot of what they're like when they reach out to you.
I wish they would start with the end in mind. Oftentimes when owners come to us, it's either too early or it's too late. It's too early because they haven't done the preparation to get the business and themselves and all of the stakeholders prepared to exit the business, or it's too late because something bad happened, one of those bad Ds, the divorce or disability or death or the rest of them, dissatisfaction. So it really takes anywhere from 1 to 3 years to get a business ready to sell, particularly those that deal with a lot of cash, because oftentimes they don't report all the cash. And I try to help them understand that for every dollar that they account for, they're going to have to give Uncle Sam 20 cents. But when they go to sell the business, they're going to get $2 to $3 back. So we like that formula. You pay your 20 cents and get your $2 to $3 back. Most businesses aren't prepared.
So, Michael, what do you think causes this lack of preparation? What's going on in their minds, and what do they know? What don't they know? What are they missing? Why are people so unprepared when it comes time to sell?
Because most owners only sell one business in their lifetime. And they typically have 70 to 80% of their personal wealth tied up in their business. And nobody has really held their hand to help them understand what it takes to get a business ready to sell. It needs to be not only valuable, but it also needs to be marketable, or think of it as desirable. And they also don't understand the valuation, how to value the business. And oftentimes they're talking to their accountant and they'll give them some numbers like 5 times earnings, but they forget to tell them which earnings, whether it's EBITDA or EBIT or seller's discretionary earnings. So like I say, most people just only sell a business once, and nobody's really held their hand to help them understand what it takes.
Can you give us kind of, I know it's a broad subject, this valuation, and there's a lot of different formulas. Can you kind of give us the 10,000 foot view or a snapshot on how people should look at the value of their business, even if just getting a ballpark?
Yeah, it really depends on the type of business and the size of the business. Typically, the higher the earnings, the higher the multiple as well. But there again, there are a lot of factors that come into play to increase that multiple. Smaller businesses typically sell for 2 to 3 times earnings, and that's seller's discretionary earnings. So that's what they actually take to the bank. So while you might have a great top line, you're only going to get value from the bottom line, because value only exists in the future. So how a business has done up to today, it might be a good estimate about how it's going to perform in the future. But if I buy your business, I only get my money back in the future. So I really don't care much about what's already happened. So, but really, it comes down to having clean books in most cases. Oftentimes, a lot of us get into small business so we can take advantage of all of the different write-offs and expenses. But when it comes time to prepare to sell that business, you want to account for every one of those dollars. And that's really I wish what people will understand is that you have to get ready. Actually, exit planning is not really just a one-step process. It's a way to run your business all the time. And I tell people, it's kind of like this. It's not a business until it runs without you. Until then, it's a job or a profession or a career, call it what you want. But if you can run your business without being there, it's got a lot of value.
When you mentioned that you should really start 1 to 3 years in advance, preparing your business to sell, can you kind of give us a view of the exact things that people should be starting to prepare for in that 1 to 3 years in advance?
Yeah, absolutely. Like I say, you want to try to replace yourself. You want to have operating manuals in place. So if I walk in and buy your business, I want it to be easy for me to step in and transition. You want to have management in place. Businesses that have subscription or repeat business tend to be more valuable than those that don't. And again, it's a matter of cleaning up the books and make sure you're accounting for all the dollars, make sure that your P&L, your profit and loss statements match your income taxes, that sort of thing. So it's just like I say, if you can run your business without being there, it has a lot of value.
Statistics show that over 80% of the businesses that are put on the market end up not selling. Can you kind of tell us, like, what are the big breakdowns and where you see a lot of the things go wrong that sabotage the sale?
Well, there's primarily three issues that come into play. Number one is that they don't have the books that will support a loan. And we see that a lot in the restaurant industry. And they don't have the people in place so that they can step away. And they tend to overvalue the business. So if I've been working at this business for 20 or 30 years and I put my kids through college, it must be worth $1 million. And they tend not to have an appraiser come in or an experienced broker that can help them understand what that value really is.
Great insight. Michael, what inspired you to get into this line of work? Can you kind of give us a look at, like, how you got started?
Uh, when I came out of grad school, we had one professor that gave us one lecture on valuing closely held businesses. And even though 90% of the businesses plus in this country are closely held, we only had one lecture on it in grad school. So I actually rode my bike to the professor's house and he said, tell me more. And he gave me a great big thick book and said, read this. And I was fascinated with valuing closely held businesses. So I went to work in CPA firms for a number of years as a business appraiser and did a lot of work for litigation support for divorce and family limited partnerships and things like that. So when I moved to Florida, I worked in a CPA firm for about a year, but it tended to be mostly divorce work. And so it wasn't for me. And I'd heard about business brokerage and it just seemed like a natural fit. And actually owned a franchise for about 12 years and then partnered up with another guy. So it's in divorce work, everybody's a little upset or a lot upset. And if everybody was mad at me, then I know I did the right thing. I had the right value. If somebody wasn't mad, then I probably messed something up. And instead of having to be all around that negativity, now when we sell a business, we've changed two families forever. And they're popping champagne and smiling and slapping on the back. And that's a much better environment to be in.
That sounds terrific. Michael, before I ask you my last question, is there anything that I didn't think to ask you that you feel is important to share for folks considering selling their business or even buying a business in today's economy?
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's a matter of begin with the end in mind. So be prepared. Like I say, when your exit planning is not really just a process, it's a way to run your business so that you're always prepared. So if somebody were to walk up to you and say, hey, I'd like to buy your business, and they make you an offer, you have to know whether or not that's a good offer or not. So really, it's just a matter of be prepared. And if you're going to be in business, you should get to know a broker because they deal with businesses all the time and they can make sure that you don't leave money on the table when it is time to go. And there's about $10 trillion worth of closely held businesses that are going to change hands in the next 10 to 15 years, as all the baby boomers are getting out of business. And about 70% of the businesses are actually owned by baby boomers. So it's a lot on the market. We're here in Southwest Florida and we can barely keep up right now. There's so many people leaving the north to come down here and buy a business. It's a little crazy. So just be prepared.
For folks listening now that would love to speak with you, how can they find you, connect with you, and learn more?
Absolutely. You can go to Edison BA as in EdisonBusinessAdvisors.com, and you can look us up and see the businesses that we have listed. You can go to the businessbrokersoflorida.com, and they'll have a bunch of information there about us as well. And the phone number would be 239-877-9911.
Michael, this has been terrific. I really appreciate you. I wish you continued success for you and for all of your clients.
Great. Thank you so much.
That was Michael Pfeffer. He's a partner with Edison Business Advisors. And this segment's been brought to you by booksgrowbusiness.com. It's the place where busy professionals get their books done and published to educate consumers, grow their practices, and to leave a legacy. That's all for now. I'm Mark Imperial, and thanks for joining me.